After a few seasons of playing and giving you guys silver rental guides, I decided it was time. Can we push the rental market, test out playing in gold, and see how it goes? This is 10 things I learned while doing that. Hello everyone, my name is Luke and this is my Play to Earn channel where you guys follow my Play to Earn journey, and this is a gold rental life deck for Splinterlands that we tested out live and gained a bunch of data that we're going to go over today. If you want to see the live stream, you can go to the Google Sheet and then you can click on the live stream link if you want to see how this happened. I rented these cards live. I played probably about 30 or 40 matches live on YouTube and then played a lot more afterwards. So I wanted to test this out for you guys because I have never played in the Gold League before. You guys probably know me as the bronze and silver rental guide master. Well, maybe not master, I don't know, but passing on a lot of tips for renting into silver. But I've never played in gold. I've never had, a legendary summoner. This Chancius was my first try at a higher level summoner. This is my first time going through higher level monsters as well, and I feel like I learned a ton. I'm not a master in this at all. Some of you guys that play regularly in gold are going to have better tips than me. So please, as you watch this in the comments, if you play in Gold League, give some comments to other players that they can read through as well. But today I want to talk about what did I learn. There's 10 things that I took away. I did not do this perfectly, but I feel like I learned a lot. And so I want to pass on things to you guys and just tell you what was my experience here in the Gold League for the first time around. The first thing I learned from my experience in gold is that it pretty much is like relearning the entire game in a way. Not everything, but it was pretty intense for me to have to go through and think about what kind of summoner do I want to level up? What kind of monsters, now that I can unlock gold level monsters, do I want to spend a little DEC to only rent a level 1 evangelist? Do I want to spend the extra DEC to get the extra card power and now turn the evangelist into a card that has 4 range and now gives inspire? Is that worth it to the team? For example, another one, Shield Bearer was super expensive to rent when he got Shield because a monster that has Taunt and now Shield, that is a super tank. And so it was something like 100 DEC to rent. So I didn't decide to rent this one. So it was kind of crazy. It made me really rethink my game, really made me, try to rethink my strategy. And there were some abilities that I had never really even gotten to use before because a lot of level 1 cards just don't have these extra abilities. And so it was really interesting to try to learn. And it was a little bit intimidating, honestly, but we made it through and it was fun to try to do this and figure it out. The second thing that I learned while playing in gold is that not everyone has a maxed out deck. I thought when playing in gold, okay, all these players, they're going to have super high level summoners, they're going to have super high level monsters, and so I need to match that by renting a life deck that is super powerful that can match this. But if you look through some of the match history, okay, Delwyn level 8, that's high, but they played a Earth level 1 there, a Delwyn only level 4, Oster level 2 there, a Anrak for 2, Valimor 2, Leanna 1. So, some of that is, again, in the rule sets, you're not going to be able to use your one deck, and so other people might be using the strategy where they're only renting one deck and it wasn't available for that matchup. But I was surprised to see how many matches we're not with high-level monsters and summoners. There were some that had that, but not everyone did like I expected. And some of you guys in the comments said of the live stream, expect it once you get to a little more like 2400 rating in gold. That's when you're facing more and more high-level summoners and monsters. We also have to remember that this is near the end of the season. There's only 3 days left in the season, so a lot of people have already ranked up. So I was probably facing the lower level gold players than normal. My third takeaway in playing in gold was that it was very hard to actually get my money back from the DEC I spent renting. Now, this is a caveat. This is my first attempt doing this, and I know I didn't do this right. I probably didn't rent the correct monsters that I needed and maybe spent too much on certain ones and maybe didn't pick up other ones that I did need to get a higher % win rate. And there's lots of arguments that I could have done this better, especially with battles with a deck that I'd never used before. I made mistakes and lost battles that I should have won. But for a first time gold player, my results were spending 771 in rentals. And it took me 109 battles just to get a little more than break even. So 36 DEC was my final net profit. So I barely made it past what I rented. Of course, the advantage was I got more daily chests, but you know, it was a little bit scary. It was coming down to the wire, especially because I had to work that day. So between work and sleep, I only did one 24-hour rental of this life deck. And my strategy was play as much as I could to get my DEC back. And, 109 matches, it is doable. I probably could have played more if I wasn't working that day. But man, oh man, I was a little bit worried. It was coming down to the wire playing my last matches before my rentals ended. And I was finally in positive amount of DEC. And you can look at the cards that I rented, neutrals here, and then the life deck. Again, you can argue that some of these maybe wasn't needed. For me, the Armor Smith was okay, but I also had the Boatman, so I don't know if with chances that was like 3 armor stacks. The Pellicore, I didn't really end up using that often. The Herbalist was an expensive one that maybe I didn't utilize well either. So there's arguments in here that, if you go watch the live stream and you look at my match history, there's probably things that I'm like, I don't know if I really needed to spend that much. I did enjoy having a maxed out legendary summoner. I think for me, Chancius was worth it here. But man, if you don't know what you're doing, if you haven't mastered silver level play yet, then for me, in my opinion, it was hard enough for me, even as a player that's almost played for 3 months now, it was hard for me to win enough to make it worth it in gold. I want to note that I also missed out a little bit on DEC by starting in silver 2 because I wanted to test out how much DEC we would earn in silver 2, 1. So I didn't get to gold 3 until battle 18 here. So you can make an argument that because of that, starting off with a lower rating and starting off for a few matches in silver, that we missed out on some DEC. So maybe if I didn't do that to test silver 2 and silver 1, maybe my profit would have been more around 100 DEC. The fourth thing I learned in my strategy was that if you only rent one deck, which is what my strategy was, rent one high level deck only for a 24-hour period and play with it as much as you can. If you do that, then what ends up happening is that about 50% of the games were not able to play because of a rule set that took out my legendary summoner, or if the life deck wasn't available, I had to revert to my low level decks once again. So if you're only doing one deck, expect maybe half of your games not being able to use it. This brings me to my fifth point, which some of you guys said while doing the live stream, is that it's probably better to rent 2 medium level decks to play into gold instead of, renting one expensive, life deck or whatever. Some of you guys commented, maybe you do life mixed in with and also a higher level dragon summoner just in case, and then you can rent a couple high level monsters from each deck and, hedge your bets that way. Or maybe you do a life deck and a death deck. So if one of them isn't working and the other one might be, who knows? Maybe that is a better way to spend our DEC. Instead of spending 771 in just one deck, maybe we spread that out and get 400 for 2 different ones. And that way we can use our decks that are high levels more often and get a higher % win rate and earn more DEC that way. I'm going to be testing that out probably next season, but we'll see. That is my theory for now, that would be a better way to go about it. But I wanted to try it out with just one deck first. However, that does bring me to number 6, something else interesting from the stats, is that with my super overpowered life deck, I got a 56% win rate. Now, without that life deck, meaning that I had to revert back to level 1 summoners and monsters that I have, I still managed to pull off a 52% win rate. So, I didn't surrender my matches that I couldn't use my OP life deck. I just played them. Now, granted, I do have some good cards like, Oceanus. I got a legendary card. I have some other epic reward cards. So there are some little bits of power in the decks that I do have. But even with that, as I said before, not everyone is getting to use a high level deck every time in low gold play. And so because of that, using my strategy, using the reward cards and other cards that I have earned, I was still able to pull off a 51% win rate, which means, actually maybe it's not even worth it to have a super overpowered deck. I don't know. We're gonna have to do more tests on this. Of course, again, I screwed up with my life deck because there was many times, because I wasn't used to my cards, that I ended up putting in the wrong cards, the wrong, rule sets and all of that. So you could argue, if I probably did this life deck again, I could guess that maybe my win percent rate should be, 60 or 70% even. I don't know. It's hard to say, but in this experiment, it was interesting to see that my life deck versus without life deck win percentages were actually fairly close. My seventh takeaway in playing in gold is that I was able to do 2 different daily quests even with the 24-hour rentals. However, I only got 4 chests each time as if I was in silver 1 and not gold 3. Now, someone in my half price renting video told me that there was changes coming that maybe wouldn't allow you to rent for only 1 day and skip to the next lead and earn those daily request rewards. I don't know if that's true because I couldn't find any other information out there about that. So maybe someone in the comments below, if you have information about that you can confirm with us, that would be really helpful because I was really confused. I thought, in gold 3 that I should be getting 5 chests for each daily quest done, but I only got 4 daily quests. So that was really interesting. I'm not sure why, if there was a bug or if there was a change that did put that into place. I was, however, able to pull through the 8 chests, some great new cards for me, so it did end up working out. Of course, just as likely, I could have pulled, 4 potions and, maybe like 20 DEC overall. So, it's not to say that, I got good cards just because I was playing in gold. And in theory, instead of playing, 1 account in gold and working your butt off to, earn your DEC back and get these daily quests, I think it still might be worth it to play in silver 3 on 2 accounts and still get 4 daily quests a day, 4 chests from your daily quests. I don't know, because the silver rewards have changed as well. I'm gonna have to go retest out silver 3. But as far as the daily quest advantage, unless I'm pushing into gold 3, gold 2, gold 1 often as possible, then I'm probably not getting the value out of the daily quest as I would, just sitting in gold 3. So it's hard to say if it was worth it. I did enjoy the daily quest that I got, but again, I probably could have gotten that just from playing on 2 accounts instead of putting all of my effort into 1 account. However, if I improve my gameplay knowledge into gold, maybe, pushing into gold 2, 1, and diamond even, maybe those daily quests and end of season rewards are worth it. Of course, if we can rent and still make our DEC back is the question. The 8th takeaway that I had while playing in gold, and I already mentioned this a little bit, but to emphasize it more, if you have not mastered silver level play, I do not think it's going to be worth it for you to try to rent into gold. And here's why. I barely made DEC profit by playing in gold, and I've been playing for a few months, and I think I have a decent knowledge on strategy. But playing into gold, as I said earlier, is a different beast. It's a different monster. It's a lot harder. And even with a powerful deck, I only got a 56% win rate. And if I didn't have reward cards from playing in silver for so long and a good game knowledge from playing in silver for so long, I don't think I would have had a good win percentage without the life deck either. So if that was the case, let's say, maybe I only won half my games, I probably would have lost DEC doing this, or I would have had to play, instead of 109 battles and drain my energy capture rate all the way down to 50 over the 24-hour period, maybe I would have had to play 150 battles just to earn my DEC back. And if you don't have a time, 150 battles, let's say they're 2 minutes each, that's 300 minutes of gameplay. That is, 5 hours long of just constant gameplay with your one deck. Maybe if you have the time in 1 day to play that, even without a good gaming knowledge, maybe you'll make your DEC back and more, and you'll get good experience playing in gold. But if you don't have time, within the 24-hour period of rental, and your game knowledge isn't already good, I'm still going to recommend let's just hang out in the Silver League. But unless you feel comfortable, like you have enough game knowledge and you want to push yourself further, that's the only time I would say, yeah, start jumping into Gold League. My 9th takeaway from doing this video was that in Silver 2, if we have 100% capture rate, again, this is near the end of the season, so DEC rewards go down usually a little bit throughout the season. And what we found out is Silver 2, each win, without the extra bonuses and stuff, we could probably assume somewhere around the 12 DEC per win range. Silver 1, it was more around 16, 15 on average. And Gold 3, if we had 100% energy capture rate, probably somewhere around the 20 DEC per win. So it does seem like as you progress in each league, there are more DEC rewards. But again, you have to balance that with how much rentals are you using, how much DEC are you renting for power to make that extra DEC bump worth it. And lastly, the 10th thing I learned while doing this test was simply that playing in gold for me as a player that has played for a couple months was a lot of fun. And remember, even though this is a finance plus game, there is still a game, right? And we can still have lots of fun playing a game. And after hanging out in Silver League for so long now, it was fun to test out a legendary summoner, Chancius. I've never played with him before, and now I kind of want my, rapper name to be Chancius the Rapper. I mean, wouldn't that be pretty cool? And, just to think about new abilities that I'm going to have with my monsters, to think about different skill sets and now I'm going to theory craft on, if I do a life deck again, what kind of monsters would I use and not use this time around? Or, hey, let's theory craft what would it look to get into gold with a death deck or fire deck or dragon deck. And that's just really fun for me. And, again, I've played in silver for a while with level 1 monsters and cards. So I've not gotten necessarily bored, but it's gotten a little bit stale. So for me, this was a fun challenge that even if I, am not making as much DEC as I was playing in silver, it's more fun to try to do these new theories. I mean, look at this battle. There was a, low mana poison blast battle with Chancius. So I was like, oh, Chancius is 7 mana. That's already a lot of mana. Let's do something troll. I think he might try to kill off my front line. So I'm going to do, flying front line with magic reflect. If he uses magic, he's going to hurt himself. And flying maybe will miss shots so that my, backline doesn't get hit by the blast. And then I'll heal my front line, and Chancius will heal my backline, and hopefully I can survive the poison longer than him. It doesn't, normally make sense to do this kind of lineup with Chancius, right? Because I'm missing out on the armor repair and stuff like that. But I was like, heck, this is kind of fun. This is kind of a goofy rule set and mana. Let's just try it and see what happens. And I've not been able to do something like this before in silver play because I didn't have these high level monsters. And so you can kind of see this goofy battle with the magic reflect and blast that even with the poison, I'm going to get the resurrect. And so I still get the double heals off and I end up winning the game. And it's just things like that, yes, you get to experience in silver, but in gold, those, different theories and different methods become so different when you're using up leveled up summoners and you're using high level monsters with now different abilities, different health, different attack, all that stuff. It kind of reinvigorated my love for the game in a new way. And so if you're looking for a new challenge, I would recommend maybe next season try pushing yourself to gold and see what happens, because honestly, yeah, the investment part of this game is important, but the fun part of this game is also just as important. And so if you're looking for, something to get you back into this game, maybe it's pushing yourself into gold and having fun doing some different decks and theory crafting. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. For a lot of players, I feel like I'm probably the guinea pig here playing into gold when a lot of you haven't. So, luckily I was able to make my DEC back and didn't lose it and give you guys some good tips. But a lot of you guys have already played in gold and above as well. So if you have other tips that I missed, please inform other players. I'm just learning about this myself as I try to pass on this knowledge. And in future seasons, I hope to continue to do this to, craft different theories, craft different decks into Gold League. My eventual goal with this channel in Splinterlands is it would be great if I ever had the time to do a bronze deck, a silver deck, and a gold deck, and continually doing guides for all 3 of those, because most new players are going to fit into those new categories and not be able to push into diamond and above, especially with the rental market the way it is right now. So I'm enjoying the game. I love doing this, even though, I didn't do this well. I didn't do this perfectly. Hopefully it passes on some information for you guys that want to try something like this. And again, if you want to go to the Google Sheet, you can look at the exact cards I rented and for what prices, and to see if that's something you want to do. And of course, I would recommend tweaking that to fit it into your own play style and your own theories about how to play the life deck in gold, because you can probably do it better than I did in this test in this video. So hope you have a great day. Love you all. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next stream or video.